This is to welcome you to the second Saturday out of the 13 weekend of capacity building, where we trust God to take you to the route of becoming a better version of yourself. We trust God to take you to the route of being a woman of value, a woman of capacity, a woman that has acquired a knowledge long enough to be valuable within the realms of men. The problem is not that your boss hates you. The problem is not that your society hates you. The problem is not that your family hates you. The problem is not that people around you hate you. Or the problem is not even that you cannot start up your own enterprise. The problem is not that you cannot also parole like every other person. But the problem is that you've not built capacity long enough to be good enough. You've not built capacity long enough to be good enough. You've not acquired necessary knowledge that will make you good enough for the task. You've not acquired necessary knowledge that will make you good enough for that position. You've not acquired necessary knowledge. You've not built capacity long enough to be good enough to be valued in your society. Within the realms of competitive market, capacity is what places value on one over another. I have made emphasis about capacity building long enough to ring a bell in your mind. What do I mean by capacity building in simple terms? Auntie, sister, madam, fine girl, go and equip yourself with necessary knowledge. Buy self-building courses, buy books, set up daily routines that will lead to your goal achievement. Let's say, for example, you pick up a book like this to read in this month. It is demanded that you should break the reading of this book into days, into weeks, thereby achieving your goal at the end of the month, especially for people who has picked up the book to read. For example, you say this is a book you are studying for the month. Okay, let's say you pick up to 2 books to study for this month. Let's say you pick up the 2 books to study for this month, for example. Now, your daily routine must also spell out, oh, I'm going to read this one in the morning, or read this one in the evening, or let me start with this one in the morning and then read this one in the afternoon when I'm free. So your daily routine must be such that it should lead to you achieving your goals. Encompass yourself with like-minded people. If you are struggling to read books, for example, if you are struggling to take up courses that will help you grow, for example, why not look for a reading hub, a reading club that will help you, where they set a reading tax? Why not look for a cluster of persons who, for example, are also on the same journey of covering a particular book in a month? Why not look for those kind of people and mingle with? For every time you acquire new knowledge, it is required that you engage in the applicative dimension of the knowledge. Let's say, for example, you learn communication skills. Okay, let's say you upgrade your vocabularies, for example. It is required that every day you should apply those vocabularies you've learned so that you can come to the mastery of it. Let me expose you to something. There is no room for foolishness at the top. At the top, there is zero tolerance for mediocrity. At the top, protocol is maintained. That means order is sustained. The top is for kings, and by kings, I mean women of knowledge. They that know will continue to rule over the foolish ones. And this, if you don't want to acquire knowledge, you don't want to build capacity, let me show you the price for foolishness. Hosea chapter 4 verse 6. It said, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So every time you refuse to build capacity, every time you refuse to acquire knowledge, every time you remain foolish, every time you want to remain within the realms of ignorance, you are heading to destruction. You are already on a journey to destruction. Oh, you are still doubting me, right? Let's look again in the book of Isaiah chapter 5 verse 13. It says, therefore my people are gone into captivity because they have no knowledge. So once you are devoid of knowledge, you are already in captivity. It said, therefore my people are gone into captivity because they have no knowledge. You go into captivity because you are foolish. You stay out of relevance, you stay out of value because you lack knowledge. There are honorable men famished, and their multitude dry up with thirst. That means you don't have what it takes to keep you going. You don't have the necessary knowledge it takes. You've not equipped yourself so good enough for you to be at that position. You've not equipped yourself so good enough for your business, for your profession. Once you lack knowledge, the price for ignorance is 1, destruction. 2, captivity. 3, you remain thirsty. 4, you famished. Those are the prices for ignorance, amongst many others. Women of knowledge are sought after, and value places them on throne, and that same value exalts their horns. You know one funny thing about value? You cannot evaluate the level of value you have. The scale for evaluating value are in the hands of people who have problem, or are in the hands of people who are in need of solution. The nexus between you and relevance, the nexus between you and value is problem solving. And for you to be a problem solver, you must acquire knowledge, you must build capacity. Let me take you through 3 routes that will aid you in being a problem solver. Now these are the three routes. One, mindset and self-awareness. There are people who believe in our world today that they cannot make it. They cannot take up hard tasks. There are people who believe in our world today that in the competitive market, they cannot make it. Meanwhile, if you nurture a growth mindset, it is possible that you expose yourself to your limitations, thereby amplifying your strength, build around your weaknesses. That's to say, it will now expose you to the fact that, okay, for me to take over, for me to lead, I have to learn, I have to acquire so knowledge. I have to come into a place where I need to learn this kind of knowledge, where I need to learn this kind of skill. Now, the second thing under mindset and self-awareness is discover your purpose. I wrote here, paint a vivid picture of your ideal self, rooted in personal aspiration and not external expectation. I think one of these days we are going to take the subject matter of motivation and inspiration. We're going to take the subject matter of motivation and inspiration. So what I'm encouraging you to do here is that around your purpose, you should be inspired by your internal self. It should be internal aspiration, your internal motivation, and don't build your motivating factor around your external world, but it should be intrinsic. It should be internally driven. Anything can change around your world, but you cannot change. As long as your eyes are fixed on the goal, you cannot change. But once your motivating factor, once your reason for wanting to achieve purpose is around external factor, it is possible that you won't achieve it. Let's say, for example, you're in a relationship and your spouse now encourages you to learn a particular profession. So, and you are not motivated internally to learn that profession, and at the end of the day, at the cost of the relationship, let's say you're supposed to learn this profession is supposed to last, your learning process is let's say your learning process is supposed to last for 2 years, and 1 month or 6 months into the relationship already, you guys are already tearing apart. It's possible that if he was your motivating factor, that you will not have that vibe, that motivation to continue learning that profession. So what am I saying? For you, your motivating factor should come from within you and not from your external world. And the next thing I wrote out here was, harness your strengths and navigate weaknesses. Celebrate your unique abilities while you're also trying to acquire knowledge to build up your weaknesses. Like that's to say, you know that you are not good in communication. You know that you are not good in speech delivery. So you can, when you expose yourself to that fact, and as long as you want to grow, you can acquire necessary knowledge to help combat that weaknesses. The last one under mindset and self-awareness is embracing life lesson. Now you have to view setback and failures, and as a fertile soil for learning and resilience. You failed today doesn't mean you can't make it tomorrow. You are a failure because you refuse to try again. You are not a failure because you failed today, but you are a failure because you failed and refused to try again. This is the beautiful thing about trying again. When you fail, you'll be able to point out what made you fail the last time, and you avoid that route. Let's say, for example, you used a particular strategy last time which led to your failure, right? When you are trying again, you always avoid that strategy and that route. The second thing out of the 3 routes is this: taking consistent action. And now under this, the first thing is craft clear goals. Wave specific attainable goals into your life. As long as you are concerned, you know the things you can achieve within a period of time. Let's say, for example, a primary school boy is saying that in the next 1 month I'm going to buy a car. It's not possible. That kind of goal is not possible. Or a primary school boy is saying that in the next 1 month I'll become the president of Nigeria. It's not possible. So how do? You have to craft out clear goals. Now it must be specific. Your goal must be specific and it must be attainable. Something you can break down into days from month. Okay, yearly. Let's say it's a yearly goal. You can break it down into monthly. You can attain it monthly, then weekly, and then daily. The second thing is this: dare to stretch. I wrote something out here. I say limp beyond your comfort zone, discovering new potentials. Some people, they are just comfortable around a particular workspace. Oh, can you do this thing? No, I cannot do, because they don't want to try something new. But once you move out of your comfort zone, taking up tedious tasks, taking up hard tasks, you will discover new potential. You never can tell what you can do until you engage in the things that will help you explore those potentials. So go beyond your comfort zone and discover the potentials you have. Discover new potentials. The next thing I wrote here is cultivating gratitude. As a person, you need to, one of the actions you need to take is to also always appreciate yourself. Oh, I've tried. Oh, I didn't do well in this part, so let me improve. So as a lady, that will help you a lot. That will help you build self-esteem. When you know that you can cover this book in 1 month, right? It's possible that when you pick up this same book again, you can always tell yourself that I know that I can do this book in 2 weeks. Therefore, I now increase the study of my book in a month into three books. I can now study 3 books in a month, right? That will help you. It's more like saying review your results. When you review your results, you can tell yourself, oh, these are my strengths and these are my weaknesses. The last route is cultivating supportive surroundings. I wrote something here: embracing positive vibes. That's, you should cherish connection with uplifting friends and mentors. Most people don't have mentor. You're about to go into something, you don't have a mentor. Pick a mentor for the field, for that your profession. Look at the things he has done. Once you have a mentor, the mistakes he has made, you will not make that mistake, because as a wise woman, you will be able to point out, oh, this guy won't have done it like this, or this lady won't have done it like this. So when you are now going through that same route, you will not make those mistakes again. Now, the next thing I wrote here was that welcome support. Openly receive help and guidance. Strengthen community bonds. There are people that don't like support. If you, for example, now you correct somebody on a particular thing, especially women, you correct them on a particular thing, the next thing is that they get angry. But when you are open to support, now by support, please do not limit support to financial support. When you're open to support, it's possible that someone can come across your videos like this and say, oh, I saw your video, it was impactful, but next time I'm thinking you should do like this. That will help improve your quality of delivery. Be open to support. Now the last thing I wrote here is extend self-kindness. Treat yourself with gentle compassion. There are people that the way they rough their life. There are people that because you want to achieve a goal, you no longer eat, you no longer rest. If you die today, you can't achieve those goals. You need to stay alive to achieve those goals. Take care of yourself. Build a healthy mental relationship with your surrounding. And this will help you build capacity. This will help you be a woman of value. So what have I said so far? The emphasis of being a woman of value, the emphasis of staying in relevance is packaged and around the subject matter of capacity building. And by capacity building, until, like I told you before, is acquire necessary knowledge that will help you strive, that will help you remain at the top. Remember those things I told you, the price for ignorance. And I listed out some things that you cannot find at the top. You need to build capacity. You need to be a woman of virtue. All right, so see you at the next class. Invite your friends, your loved ones, your family. Subscribe and share. Please turn on your notification button so you can get updates. You can also get relevant teaching like this on this channel. Thank you very much.